So as you guys know, I've been living in my car for a while now. I converted it last year, and this whole time I have put out over 30 videos, and I realized you guys have been following me from the beginning, and it just goes to show how supportive you guys are. I really haven't put out a personal video yet out of the over 30 videos that I've put out. So we've reached 5K today. Wow. And I figured that I would tell you guys about me since you guys deserve it. Look at this. Woo! The shedding that cats do in the house is not nearly as bad as it is when they are in a car. The temps are a tiny bit higher. My friend just texted me, just call me. She wants me to see her new baby. Oh, my clothes are getting too big. Okay, let's hopefully turn on. It's not turning on. All right, abracadabra. Fail. Turn on. Well, one light turned on. Hoping this one would, because it's right above my storage unit. Okay, yeah, it's not happening. All right, big revealing moment. Yes. It's pretty bad. I haven't been organizing it because I know in about a month I'm gonna have my van. I just figured it's pointless. So for right now, that's what it is. I don't think I need anything in here right now. Oh, wipes. Yeah, I might need those. Y'all see this? The light turned on as soon as I want to leave. You guys, I was gonna do one of those videos and I was gonna have my wig on and then I was gonna do like a reveal and I was gonna go wipe me down. I was gonna throw it on the ground and then I'm like, it's a little too much. Maybe at 10K. Okay, so I just got off the phone with my friend Vicky, so I'm gonna have to finish this video another time because it's a little too dark out now. So I will catch you guys later. So we out here right now, and I was chilling on this little patch of grass over here with my kitty cat, and she doesn't know how to use the leash yet, but every time I let her go down, she'll either, oh, she's, get off my shirt. Yeah, she thinks she's not attached to anything, and then she realizes she is, and she just does this plop on the ground like I ain't going nowhere till you disconnect me. You better not be eating nothing. What are you doing? Today is my first day of work. I get 2 15s and a half hour, which is, by the way, way better than Lowe's, because I would stand for like a good 6-7 hours sometimes or longer before I even got a bathroom break. That's the plus side. The downfall is I'm starving and I don't want to pull out the parking lot to go somewhere on my 30-minute lunch break because I'm scared somebody's going to take the only spot in the parking lot that has trees covering it because I'm worried about my kitty cat. But it's actually really cool in here, and I'm pretty sure it's like almost 90 degrees out, so that's wild. This shade really makes a big difference. So I'm about to go back into work. I'll check in with you guys later. I am so tired, but I just got off my first day of work and I bought some cupcakes, and I think I'm gonna go to Lowe's. Why don't I show you my coworkers? I know they miss me and I miss them, and some of them probably won't want to be on camera, but I definitely think it's worth it to just go back there, hand out cupcakes, and see if I can get even a couple people on camera if they're working, you know? So let's go. What's up?
What's up?
Do you miss me?
Yes.
Don't be lying.
Of course I miss you.
This is Chris, and he's a boss, G with it, used to work in lumber. Do you miss me?
Absolutely. Especially now you bring cupcakes.
Hi. Who's out here? Oh, she doesn't want to be in the video. Hi. Say hi to my YouTube. Do you miss me?
YouTube, I miss you.
You do?
I do.
Oh, I like your glasses.
Oh, thanks.
Are they new?
Newbies, yeah.
Yeah, I like
you're
'em.
kidding, I was so blind.
Strawberry chocolate.
I want a green one. So I just got off from work. It is day 2, and I figured it would be a good time to tell you guys a little bit about me. I know that I always tell you guys the most public knowledge, like I was in foster care. My goals is to start a nonprofit. I lost my job of 7 years and I live in my car with my cat. But there's more to it. I see comments and questions on a lot of my videos. So I figured it'd be a good time to start about me, you know, telling you guys about me. Then I'll get into the deeper details of my history and what I've gone through and how I got here. I have several close people to me. I have a lot of friends, but generally I have 3 people that are very close to me, besides Keycat, of course. I have my best friend who I met in a group home back when I was 16 years old. That group home, I just found out like it closed up and it no longer exists, so that kind of sucks. It feels like part of my history no longer exists. Actually, a lot of my history doesn't exist anymore because so many programs have closed down, and it is just so sad. The way I think is very scattered, so a lot of times it's hard for me to stay on topic. I met my best friend in a group home. That's where we became like this, like real tight. She had, you know, 3 babies with the same person, and it was a very abusive relationship to the point where she thought she was gonna die, had stitches, black eye, busted lip, and she ended up just running from him to the nearest hospital she could get on foot. And she got away from him and then ended up getting her kids after, and living in like DV shelters for a couple years. And now she's in a condo and she's trying to get a job, and she doesn't have any support. So that is the reason I don't really want to fully convert this car, because me and my best friend, we kind of all we have. We don't have any family really. Like, she has her kids now and I have my cat. We just kind of help each other out when we can. So I want to give her my car. My best friend needs that extra stepping stone to get where she needs to go. She needs to work. If no one else is going to help her, I'm her best friend, and she has been my family since I was 16, and I'm going to give her my car after I get the van. She deserves it, and I love her so much. So there is another person who is close to me. My best friend definitely tops everybody since she's been in my life the longest. When I was 16, I got my first apartment. I ended up getting into a relationship with someone older than me, and then it was a little abusive. So the person downstairs reported that I was, heard noises and reported it. In New Jersey, there's no emancipation laws legally, so I was living on my own at 16, and so DIFAS got involved, and when they made the report, I got put back into foster care like 2 months before I turned 18, which was pointless because I was living by myself for a good 2 years already. I was in the foster home for the 2 months, and then I turned 18 and I aged out, so I was homeless, literally homeless. I didn't have a car. I didn't have my license. I didn't have a job. And I just had a backpack, and that's all I had. So I just started walking around and, applying to jobs. I didn't have anywhere to shower. Like, anybody that was it's the hood, so it was the hood in that area. So anybody I saw outside, I would just start talking to them. I ended up making friends, finding showers here and there. People would give me like little bowls of cereal and like old pieces of pizza from the fridge or whatever. And I would just eat as I could. I lost a lot of weight during that time. I went from like a good 160, like pear-shaped 160, to a skin and bones, see my ribs, like 112. I was sleeping under a nearby church that had like stairs that go down and a stairs that go above, so it created like a little type, kind of like a shelter, and I would sleep down there. And they had cameras and everything. Like, I know they knew I was sleeping there, and it was embarrassing, but when you're homeless for a certain amount of time, you start to not care. So I had my little book bag, and I had about 3 outfits in there and 1 pair of shoes, and sometimes I didn't even have socks to wear. And I ended up getting a job. My first job was at Family Dollar, and I went to the library to try to apply for apartments. I met this woman named Linda, and she was like, "What are you doing? You can't be on your phone in the library." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I hung up the phone. I kept searching, and then one of the landlords I had called me back. So I was just looking at the computer. I'm like, "Oh, phone call, hello." And then she's like, "You can't be on the phone." So I hung up on the landlord, and she's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean for you to hang up on him." So then she ended up talking to me. She said she overheard my conversation and saw that I was like, 18 years old trying to get a place to stay. And she ended up like helping me. She brought me to this cold blue shelter, and that's where I met this person that is really close to me. Her name's Karen, but that's disrespectful. We don't say that around here. So I call her K Biggs. How I met K Biggs: Linda took me to the shelter after seeing me at the library, and at the shelter there was a bunch of like volunteers there, and the volunteers, they had to like make food and get the cots out, give us blankets. It was cold out, about to snow. I was making mashed potatoes, and the other ladies were making, I think, meatballs. And so they gave us the plate of food when we got there, and I'm eating the mashed potatoes, and the mashed potatoes is tasting like soap. And I'm starving, so I'm wolfing it down. So mind you, I'm like 112 pounds at this time. I was anorexic from not eating. I was eating these soapy ass mashed potatoes, and we joke about it now. But she ended up going against the rules of the shelter and letting me stay with her for a couple weeks until I got my own apartment while I was saving up working. She's talked to me like pretty much every month for the last however many years since I was 18. So she's pretty important to me. So that's the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about. I know there was a little bit of confusion in some of the comments. There's 2 dogs that I talk about. It's not the same dog. I had a dog, a service dog, that would help me out tremendously, and it was like my soulmate. He was my little soulmate, okay? And he passed away from a hereditary kidney failure, and it was completely unexpected. There's like nothing I could do, like nothing. And if I could have emptied out my pockets, whatever, and it still wouldn't have saved him. That's how bad it was. So that was he was a Shih Tzu. He's the gray and white dog. Then there's another dog. So I planned on living in a schoolie, a short bus, converting it into an RV and traveling. Unfortunately, I had gotten that dog with the expectation of receiving the bus that worked. I ended up getting scammed out of that, leaving me with no choice but to live in my car. So my backup plan was my car. I wasn't going to give him to a shelter, no matter what. I was going to have my best friend look after him. Unfortunately, her apartment complex was giving her hell. I ended up giving him up permanently to a forever home because I didn't want him going from place to place. And I get updates and pictures all the time. He's so cute. He would not have been happy in this little car, and he has separation anxiety. The third person is somebody that I met at Lowe's, and I'm gonna call him, I don't know, because I know he's not gonna want his name on the internet. I'm gonna call him JD or Jay, I don't know, just call him Jay. So I met Jay in the appliance aisle of Lowe's, and we just started talking and like connecting out of nowhere. Like our first conversation, he was telling me about the death of one of his parents, which gets extremely deep. And then I guess he found me like mysterious, like an unnormal. Like he sensed that I wasn't normal, that I've been through something. Like he knew something was up. And I think like because he has like a healing heart, um his, had conversations with me about um accountability and paying bills, being responsible, things that a parent would normally teach you. Like he has been such a good, like, the father figure that I probably have needed for a while. So, and I try not to like put his business out there and tell other people because he's a very private person. I try to respect that. But he is just, he has a kind soul. So I appreciate this man for being the father figure that I've needed for years. Those are the three people: my best friend, K Biggs, and JD. Jay. That's a little bit about me. So, what am I like as a person? Well, back in back since I was like can remember, I've always had like a talent of fine arts, drawing, and painting. I actually went to multiple schools and was in superior art classes. I even got really close to a person, my one of my teachers, and I'm gonna eventually dedicate one of my storefronts to her, possibly part of the nonprofit. Her name, she passed away. Her name was Miss Shore, and I went to her art class, would go there daily, and she was just there for me. She had my back. She knew what I was going through, and she said, put it in your art. If you can't talk about it, put it in your art. You're scared to say something, you're scared it might backfire on you, put it in your art and you will make it out of this. And so I would paint and I would make sculptures and I would draw, and I did a few contests and I ended up winning a full scholarship to Pratt Institute in New York. And unfortunately, I never went due to my living circumstances by the time I turned 18. So even though I had this talent of drawing and painting and I won this scholarship, my goal was to be a singer, a musical artist. I always loved singing and writing poetry, and I grew up in the 50 Cent Eminem era. So I listened to hardcore rap and hip hop majority of my life, probably until recently when I started to fade away because I can no longer relate to the people on the radio. Like nowadays, we're not going to get into that, but back in the day, I sound old. When I was, in high school and all that, I always wanted to have music as my career. While I was working at Lowe's, I had several managers try to work with me, get me on their label. I was associated with Atlantic Records. I went to the studio. I've recorded several songs. I was very like turned away, like by just what I was seeing. After I had stopped going to the studio, someone actually got shot and died. First time I ever went to the studio, I think I was like 14 years old. I had a lot of foster homes, but there was only one foster home where the family really cared about me. Foster dad there passed away as well. He took me to my first studio and I recorded a song. It was a sad song and I was playing piano in the background and had like some hip hop beat aligning with the piano that I was playing. I still have a big love for music. I still want to create music. I wish I was better at the audio mixing. Now I'm into mostly like soul music and a little bit of hip hop. I like Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, Jill Scott, Kendrick Lamar, a little bit of J. Cole. If you are going to hear any of my future music, that's what the vibes I will be giving. As far as my past music and what I had recorded in the studio, a lot of it is diss tracks, whatever's entertaining in the music industry right now. So, Money, Power, Kitty. I was making music that I didn't really like. I want to spread love and peace. I want to, have soulful music, like connected to your emotions and all about doing the right thing. and respect. So I was not in my right state of mind. Unfortunately, the music industry, they want you to sleep around and have a certain image and make sure you look good and have your body done, and in order to get somewhere. And I can understand that to an extent, but it's just beyond. Like, they have a whole agenda for you. You can't make your own agenda. And that's the part I just don't like. So that's why if I ever did do my music again, I'd be more like Russ. Russ is a good one too. But he is in charge of his own stuff, let's just say that. There is something else that I want to point out and tell you guys a little bit about me, because I saw some comments. I was in foster care, and a lot of you guys don't realize this, but when you don't have that extra helping hand of a parent, you don't get ahead in life. You don't have a normal life. You are struggling to get by, like quite financially, literally. So I never touched drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink. And I was never incarcerated, never arrested. Like, false statements about me. Like, I was never any of that. So my main problem my entire life, and why I wasn't able to get ahead, like why I was in this situation and why I'm creating a loophole for me to get out of debt, for me to be up on my feet and not have to depend on nobody else, because I really don't got nobody else. Being, partially forced into my car, I was already choosing to live in a bus, so I'm just gonna say I'm doing this by choice at this point. Because I was working full time, I had the money to get an apartment, and I chose not to. I want permanent house, maybe homestead, and yeah, and I want to have my own nonprofit. Now that that's cleared out the air, if you haven't been here from the beginning of the channel and watched all the videos, I wanted to start living in my car to save up, become debt free, and to have my own nonprofit benefiting animals and individuals. So it's gonna be a while. It's probably gonna take some years, but we eventually gonna get there. And along the way, I do want to announce, in every state, I want to paint like a little something with nature in every single state that I visit. And maybe we'll create some type of hashtag where you guys can go visit those same spots and take pictures next to it and show me. I think that would be pretty cool. But for now, I'm gonna stop boring you, because I know this is probably one of the longest videos I have up. And I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully, if you got to the end, give me a black heart in the comments. See you later.